Arca, KiCk 2, album review, let's chat about it. Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning. Did somebody play a joke on me? I said to myself last week, hey, my blog here's winding down. I don't have a lot more going on for the rest of the year. I have that Arca project coming out, though. Oh, but no, it's not one Arca project. It's not two Arca projects. That would have been nice. It's not even 3 projects. It's 4 Arca projects. We're going to be chatting about them all week, and also the new Tierra Whack EP. But for those of you who don't know, Arca is Miss Alejandra Gersi. She has been at it for quite some time. She is a Venezuelan-born music producer, DJ, visual artist as well. And since 2014, with the studio album that she dropped, Zen, as well as some early EPs and mixtapes that she put out, she has turned the electronic and more experimental realm of such, honestly, completely on its head. She has pushed every boundary with her genreless, formless, hard-to-describe approach to the genre. But for me, it didn't really start at Zen. It actually started at Mutant. This was an album that I thought was much more concrete from start to finish. I mean, Arca may have created her sound on Zen, but with Mutant, she really created her world. We also have her self-titled album, Arca, which honestly showed her bringing some vocals to her work for the first time and somehow made it even more disturbing and tormented and genuinely harrowing. But then we have last year's KiCk 1, and this is an album that really caught me off guard. First of all, this is a complete departure from everything that she's done in the past. It had elements of Deconstructed club and this weird industrial reggaeton fusion that came off really well, actually. Some glitch pop and some art pop as well as her blend of experimental. But not only was this a really, really solid project, I thought what made this album so captivating was this was seemingly a new beginning for Arca. This was an exciting new path that she was on. It was emotional and vulnerable in some points, but it also really went hard at other points. Which leads me to this new series of this KiCk project that Arca is working on. You can't say that she is not pushing out material. She is certainly doing that. And leading up to these albums, there were singles dropped from each, but what was so interesting was almost all of these albums sound different. And that's mostly the reason why I decided to do them all individually than, all at once on one long video. Which leads me to KiCk 2. This album starts off with Doña, and honestly, this is business as usual from Arca. I love the chilly, bizarre opening vocal snippet that is just, it's so hypnotic. As well as some of the sound play here. I've loved Arca's sound play for years. This is nothing wildly new. She's a master of all of it. I mean, it's not exactly the most wild or intense intro, but this is a great gateway into her world. Gets you really pumped to listen to more of it. Then we have Prada, and if you were a fan of KiCk 1, you're going to feel right at home here. This is that same freaky, deconstructed club, industrial reggaeton, whatever you want to call it. It is that freakish, otherworldly club music, and Arca is doing this a lot of justice. It's hypnotic, it's twisted and weird, but it absolutely makes you move. But not only that, but this album and this sound for Arca continues to be a great vessel for her vocals, which seem to be more upfront and more confident than ever. Llena also is really great. I feel like this new path just continues to have so many different interesting venues for Arca to roll down. This is a nocturnal banger with a weird side, for sure. It's just so steamy, as odd as that sounds or comes off. But it's also really haunting at points. I love Arca's vocals here. It's groovy and all around, this is just a complete thought. It sounds great, it's wonderfully produced, I'm all for this. And Araña is the kind of risk that really pays off. This is so obtuse, this is so out there. The sound play here is ridiculous, and the formless nature of everything is so fascinating. It's one of the longest tracks here, but I think it's for good reason. I mean, don't look for anything standard about this track, even a beat. This track is constantly changing. I don't even know what I'm listening to, but this is an Arca record, and that's not a bad thing. Now, I will say this. It's something I didn't want to say either. I think that KiCk 1 was a little bit more consistent than KiCk 2. Rakata is fine, but I don't know. I think this is personally a little bit too much of a stretch for me. Like, I actually don't hate the beat here and the production as well. My God, this vocal performance is easily one of the most obnoxious here, and the songwriting on this track is just down. And I have a lot of the same feelings with Tiro. I actually, once again, love this gigantic, bulky beat. But from a songwriting stance, this is bottom of the barrel for Arca. Actually makes me pine for a simpler time. Lethargy has like some interesting pieces here and there. Some of the vocal snippets are really cool. But this one is a little too deconstructed for me. This is way too cutting room floor. And outside of that, it's just flimsy. It's got no backbone. And Muñecas is just so frustrating. This is, to a T, why for a while there I wasn't really connecting with Arca's music. It's okay, but a lot of this track just seems very incomplete. The whispers, Arca's ghoulish vocals, that's fine. But between the disjointed nature of this track and the wildly below average performances and the production that's not even the best here, this is just not my cup of tea. But still, this is a very, very solid Arca recording overall. As a matter of fact, you're going to find this out, but most of the albums that she released last week, they're pretty solid all around. Femme, for me, is just home. This is the sort of noisy, twisted, short, weird interlude that I've loved for years from Arca. It's got some incredibly tense instrumentals, it's got a super slick beat, and it's a complete thought. Confianza, on the other hand, is just so good. The soundplay here is just, it's so unique. Arca has such a unique way of going about it as well. She has no fear throwing you headfirst into her world. It's short, but it's detailed and wildly creative. And then we got the nicest surprise here, Born Yesterday, featuring Sia. Where did this come from? This is an awesome track and a great single. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is an incredible pop tune. It is larger than life. Sia's vocal performance, hell yes. It's just so strangely timeless sounding, even though this is clearly ahead of the game on every front. And I needed a track like Andro to end this album. Once again, this is kind of home base for me with an Arca album. It is grim, it is bleak, it is intensely cold. This sounds like a cut from Mutant. It's a blast from her past, but I'm glad for one that she could really still pull this off. This album, while not wildly outside the box and not nearly as, I don't think, consistent as KiCk 1 is, still a really very solid Arca project. Yeah, some of the details in some of the later tracks may be a little underwritten, and some of the vocal performances on this track, like from a songwriting stance at least, are maybe not as consistent as I would hope, but still, Arca started things pretty solidly with KiCk 2. We'll be chatting about 3, 4, and 5 the rest of this week, but for now, I am feeling a strong 7 on KiCk 2. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you like this review, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. Until next time, have a great day, guys.